Hello everybody, welcome to the third round of the VTuber tracc.eu challenge season 24-2 at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Once again, commentating this race is me, Ruby Nekomata, a fellow VTuber, and a person who is not a VTuber, but is still a racer, nonetheless, at heart, April Carlsward. Hello, April.
Hi Ruby, thank you for having me. Always supporting the VTubers, you know me.
Yes, as we are here in Spain for what should be a pretty interesting race here. As usual, 60 minutes around the Barcelona-Catalunya circuit, with a mandatory stop as well in the nighttime, though. I believe at 6 p.m., but for this time of the year, at least in game, the nighttime falls very, very early. We'll take a look at the standings at the moment for practice. Denat Calamari is on top of the leaderboard with a 145.137. Lucas looked not too far behind by 0.420, so that's a funny number there. Before we go any further, though, let's take a look at the standings coming into this race. Let's first take a look at the AM driver standings. As you can see on your picture now, so Lil Drew Cox is in the lead with 26 points, but she is tied Uzo Akihara also with 26 points. Unmetric Zanes sits right behind in third place with 20, and Kaito Nasa just outside the podium in fourth at 16. It was 16 points, excuse me. Faro Okami as well has 16 points in fifth, then Ryoma Tateyama with 13, Mayaneko with no points, as does Aether Yuki and DJ Overdrive. For the silver standings, Durabruch sits on top with 26, as Dirty Go High sits just behind in second with 20. Eric Gregus also has 20. Zen VTuber has 16. Ivano Chensoy with 13. David Kotze with 11. Amethysta VTuber with 0. Then for the pro class, Lucas Lichten leads with 26 points, but Ryoma Kirihara not too far behind with 20. Amelia Anderson with 16, as does Isaac Umbras, also 16, within 4th. Did not call Mario in 13th, not having the greatest start to the season with 2 drive-thrus in a row. Maybe the third time's going to be the charm. Psycho Kaiza is in 6th with 12, Sebastian Rossi with 10, and Asa the Nyanpire with 9. Finally, we go to this team standings as Mirai United VTuber Racing Team sits on top of that board with 42. Then Yukai Racing 36, and I'm not even going to bother saying the team number not the team number, the team how do you say it? The little subtitle there. Third with 35 points is Kate Racing Team Pink. Fourth is Technoburst Racing. Fifth is Bago X Vitality Racing Team. Sixth is the main Yukai Racing Team. Seventh is Yukai Racing number 3. And Technoburst Rev Up is sitting in 8th with 16 points. As we get set for qualifying here, we saw, I believe, yes, it was Danat Kalmari on top of the leaderboard, and possibly the one to make a charge for the pole position here once again, but we've seen time and time again that the qualifying results don't necessarily dictate the race.
Well, on top of that, the practice results don't necessarily dictate the qualifying, but nonetheless, I think it's a sign that we should be keeping an eye on Denat Kalmari, whose 2 previous race results are 5th in round 1 and 2. So, certainly being that far up the field is a bit of a change, a bit of a shake-up, and quite interested to see if he can convert that.
But keep in mind that those 5th positions did come from drive-through penalties. It could have been even better, but unfortunately for Denat Kalmar, just has not been able to avoid those track limits violations, and just incurs the wrath of the Robo Stewards, since the real stewards do not hand out those penalties. Those are by the game, so just really have to appease the video game itself by just remembering where the track limits are and just sort of holding yourself back.
Definitely, that's a very good point, actually. Although I'm trying to think about this track and think of anywhere where track limits could be an issue. I imagine the exit of 9, but I can't think of anywhere else where I'm used to being tripped up here. I don't know about you.
I want to say maybe, yeah, turn 9 is a good shout. I want to say maybe
Yeah.
if you're not careful, I could say turn 2 maybe. You could probably cut that a bit too much. Well, I'm not even sure if you can cut that
Oh, yeah.
enough. Probably like to
Hmm.
see when Not Kalmara comes through, but I believe there's a curve there, but it would be pretty difficult to get there without upsetting the car's balance, as the Not Kalmari sets on their first qualifying lap. Only their first lap, so it won't be the fastest lap of the session, but a good indicator where their pace may be. See, coming into turn 1, into turn 2. There is a bit of a cut you could do there, but it's not optimal enough to take it, so do not call Murray might be safe there, but as I said before, April, turn 9 might be an issue.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're right about turn 2. The little anti-cut there, which looks like it's kind of ruins any attempt to cut that one. Maybe on the exit of 2, there's some potential to get tripped up. But yeah, I think we're just waiting with bated breath right now for turn 9. Short distance to go there now, as we're just coming out of turn 5 now. Foot all the way on the power, down this long, flat section. Heavy on the brakes, tiny bit of curb there. A lot of curb on the right, which as I understand is perfectly safe. And here we are at turn 9. Let's see what happens.
Somebody already took out the styrofoam blocks at the exit of turn 9, but turn 9, especially when you're turning in that inside curb, you're not supposed to climb it. It looks very tempting to just climb it and see if you could cut it, or maybe like decrease the radius just a little bit, but it really just upsets the balance of your car. You really need all 4 tires on that pavement, as now Donat goes to probably one of the most controversial parts of the circuit, the chicane here.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think there's anyone I've ever met who actually enjoys this chicane.
I do.
Oh, cool. Well, you're the first one then.
As
We've done it, everybody. We've found her.
As Donat Kalmari crosses the line, this lap is going to be not valid. 145, excuse me, 122. Actually pretty close to Donat Kalmari's personal best in practice, so the pace is not let up just yet, but we're still yet to see the track go to an optimum state, so the times could still go down here. Donat Kalmari on their second lap now, going through turn 3 it is.
Yeah, we have got some lap times being posted at the moment. Current pole sitter is Lucas Lichten with a 145.190. And hot on his tails is Asa Nyanpire with a 145 3.39. And
Like,
Isaac Umbro, again, 5 times behind that.
I do enjoy that you did say Tails, because Team Mofu obviously based off of Kitsune's, so Lucas Lichten
Oh,
obviously.
where that comes from.
Yeah.
Ah, I didn't know that.
Obviously, Mofu means pet fluffy tail.
Ah. Today I learned.
Yeah, a bit of an anime sort of trope.
Okay.
Kaitonasa also with a lap time now. 4.5 seconds off the lead time, but not too bad considering they are an AM driver. Not too much, not expecting too much of, an insane performance from the AMs. Not expecting them to do esports time. Just the time and just being consistent is just good enough for AM, especially if you can stay out of trouble. Let's see Donat Kalmari come out of the chicanes here. Go to the left, then the right, then the sweeping right-hand turn at turn 16. Then to cross the line, we'll see what this is.
Yep, rapidly approaching the start-finish line, looking to see what it is, and that is our new pole time at a 145.0. That is about a 10th ahead of Lucas Lichten.
Lucas Lichten is about to cross the line himself, though, but it's not well, it was an improvement, but it wasn't valid. 144.4847, but unfortunately for him, that is not going to count.
No, but it definitely shows what Lucas Lichten is capable of. I can't imagine he'll have gained much time with a cut, because it's qualifying. You know you'll get your lap time deleted, so if you cut, it's usually an accident. You're not trying to be cheeky and make the most of a cut. So, yeah, that's definitely one to watch, I think.
Zul Akihara, meanwhile, trying to take away pole at the moment from Soleil Drukrox, who has the pole sitting time for AM for 148.342. What does Zul Akihara have to offer here? Matrix crosses the line. That's not going to count as a lap. I believe that's just his out lap. Zul Akihara now crossing the line. Hasn't posted a lap, actually, so it must have invalidated while I was not looking at the timing and scoring sheet. Take a look back at Kaito Nasa, now in the Aston Martin instead of the BMW.
Interesting little change there. I can't imagine those cars are all that fundamentally different, are they?
I never driven the Aston Martin much, so I couldn't really tell you.
Okay.
Meanwhile,
Yeah,
there's
I've not really either. The BMW's been the main one that I've spent time in.
Meanwhile, did not
But
call Mari, looking to improve their time even further, up by a tenth, losing a little bit in the chicane. Well, actually, it's stabilizing just a tad, about to a tenth and a half, coming across turn 16 here, the final turn here at Barcelona. Crossing the line, it's going to be a 144.867, so first driver below the 45 mark.
quite comfortably as well. That looks like it's going to be tough to catch up to.
Take a look at Lucas Lichten. Actually, Isaac Umbers just jumped Lucas Lichten in the qualifying order with a 145.150. Only off by about, I want to say, 300ths, excuse me.
Yeah. It's really not much. It is quite close.
We've seen, though, that even though it's invalid, Lucas Lichten definitely has some speed in that Porsche.
He really does. He's been very consistently quick this whole season so far. And he is, of course, our current pro class leader as well, with 26 points at the moment.
It's very valuable for valuable for a championship that you be consistent, not just fast, but consistent and patient, and also just safe as possible. You've seen Donat Kalmari have absolutely insane pace, but time and time again just keeps getting drive-throughs, so Lucas Lichten's been taking advantage of that. But speaking of pace, Lucas Lichten is up by 6/10 nearly, coming out of turn 9.
That's easily going to be enough to claim pole by a very comfortable margin, as long as Lucas does actually grab this lap up and put it in.
Ooh, that's a little sideways.
A little bit. Although he seems to get that Porsche sideways a lot, and it doesn't slow him down that much. Like, looking at that delta, it still looks very good. He hasn't lost anything for that side.
Through the chicane, and now around the final turn of the circuit. Did lose about a tenth and a half through there, but that's still going to be enough for the pole time. That's going to be a 144.705 for the Team Mofu driver. Just behind it's Isaac Umbers, I believe. He's going to jump to not call Mario with a 144.765. Now it's on.
It's looking like the 144 club is the place to be. Everyone wants to be there now.
Meanwhile, Jordan Bunch has a great lap time going on. Might just be able to jump Dirty Go-High for the silver class pole. Only 2 cars in the silver class, but every point counts for these two, really.
Definitely, and to add to that as well, these are 2 drivers from silver right now. They are currently first and second in the standings, so ultimately this battle's been between those 2 up until this point in the season. And it looks like they're quite keen to carry that on, even if no one else from Silvers can make it today. They're still here to keep that show on the road.
And you know what? Jordan Bunch is on pace with with one of the pro drivers. Only about a second and a half off, and really close behind to Ryoma Kirihara as Jordan Bunch comes to a stop. Gonna try another run, but Jordan Bunch is first in silver. Meanwhile, Lucas Lichten still has time to gain on this lap, but he does have some traffic ahead of the number 420 car of Soleil Drew Cox, and I believe the 54, that is the not call Mari on his lap, so one car shouldn't be worried about, but the 420 car may be something to keep in mind, though I don't know if this is going to be his last flying lap for at least this stint.
Let's have to wait and see. It is that point in the session where you kind of split it in half and
ooh, yeah, okay.
about getting a second tank of fuel. Oh, as we see Lucas going off and abandoning that lap.
Yeah, Lucas did actually climb the sausage curve a little bit there. We'll take a look back at Donat Kalmari on another flying lap here. But yeah, that's also another point of the circuit I think where you can not get track limit violations, but at least, you know, really destroy your laps at the exit of the chicane. If you go too wide there, there's that big sausage curve at the left-hand side, the very left-hand side outside of the exit that can just really just bounce your car up in the air. You'll lose a lot of time.
Yeah, that's right. Of course, that kicks the driven wheels up into the air, so all the time that you're going over those, you are not accelerating. And you really feel just how long you're not accelerating when you're in that car. It feels like an eternity.
You know, did not call Mari coming into turn 6 and 7, braking hard.
not quite using all the apex on 7, but massively using that curving on 8 as well, keeping it nice and clean through 9.
Is that too
Just a little bit
wide?
wide. It is, yeah, that lap's just invalidated.
So now Kalmar is going to have to try again. We'll see if anybody else is on a flying lap. Ryoma Tateyama is on a flying lap, about a second over their best. That's going to be enough, well, not quite enough to jump Kaito Nasa in the standings, but it's a good improvement nonetheless with a 149.310. The drive improving is iMagic Zanes, though he is very early on in his lap, so we'll come back to him later. Also, the Empire, a driver who's just jumped from the silver class to the pro class after really impressing in the last 2 rounds. Been able to keep up her pace and is well into the pro class sort of battle here. I mean, only 5 cars in pro class, but, you know, 4th after your debut, 4th in your debut in qualifying, I mean, not too bad.
It's definitely a rock solid start. We've definitely seen this kind of pace from Asa up until this point as well. She's been quick pretty much this whole season, and the challenge has just been in converting that into a good race result. And is today going to be the day that changes? Fingers crossed, let's hope so.
That's Kaito Nasa going off in the gravel. No harm, no foul. I believe Lucas Lichten stopped, actually, in the middle of turn 6. Not sure what that's about. You can see Lucas Lichten there. Just stopped. I think Asa and the Empire went too wide there. No lap deleted, but that's still a lot of time lost. So we're gonna have to try again the next lap. Take a look to see if there's anybody improving on their lap or anybody on a flyer. iMagic Zane's still improving on his best lap time. Not sure it's going to be enough for an improved position, but it's going to be enough for a personal best at least with under 7 minutes to go in the session.
Let's see what this turns out to be. It's just about a second gap to the car in front. It is an improvement.
149 gets under the 150 mark, so a good start for iMagic Zane's. Let's take a look at, well, let's take a close eye on iMagic Zane's until we see another driver who's been really standing out here. Take a look at Solera Drewcrox, who is 2nd in the AM class, matching her personal best at the moment. Her delta is steady, like triple zeros, maybe like a bit of 100th or thousandths, but pretty steady on. Her best lap time is a 148.342, which is about, I want to say, half a second, maybe a bit more, 6/10 off of the pole sitter in AM, Zul Akihara. Maybe that's, if you could see, no, that is Ryoma Kirihara instead, excuse me. Oh, iMagic Zanes goes off track.
Looks like abandoning the lap, resetting back to pits maybe? Yes.
You see Ryoma Kirihara there in the number 128 Technoburst Aston Martin, improving on their lap here, up by 2/10. Somebody else that's gonna, oh, I believe it's Jordan Brunch, so Jordan Brunch should be able to get back into the session really quickly if things cooperate with him. I know that he's been having trouble sometimes with connection issues, but you know, it's been pretty stable so far this season, so fingers crossed.
And let's also hope that if there is a problem there, that gets it out of the system, because you'd certainly rather it happens now in qualifying than later during the race.
Ryoma Kirihara on a great lap here, 4/10 improvement. It's going to be able to jump onto the Nyanpire in the standings. We'll see if it keeps up into the chicane. Oh, he lost a bit of time in the chicane, only by 2/10 now. Is still going to be enough to get onto the Nyanpire? I believe so. It's going to be a 145.237, so just enough to jump onto the Nyanpire for 4th position. There's Jordan Brunch back in the session.
Excellent, good.
Take a look at Dirty Kohai, who is a new competitor in the silver class after being promoted from AM. Doing a good job so far, keeping the pace. A little bit behind Jordan Brunch, but, well, behind by about, I want to say,
6/10, is that?
I'd say about, like, 9/10.
Oh, sorry, yes.
But Dirty Kohai, doing a good start ahead of out the AM cars. Probably would be mid-pack and silver if there was more silver drivers here, because Jordan Brunch is on a pretty good pace right now for a silver driver.
Yeah, and as I was talking about earlier before, with these two being 1st and 2nd in the standings right now, according to the standings, these are our 2 strongest silver drivers right now. So the only comparison they've got is each other, which is a pretty tough comparison.
You know, keeping a close eye on Ryoma Kirihara, who is just entering the third sector now. We'll keep a look on Dirty Kohai to see what lap time he's able to pull off. The Snow Leopard in the BMW for Yukai Racing, about to cross the line. Just a small improvement, 147.045. Now we head to Ryoma Kirihara, I believe is the Dragon Tamer, or something to do with dragons. Either way, Ryoma Kirihara going into the chicane, going out of the chicane now. Might actually threaten to not call Mari for the top 3 positions here. This is a good lap.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this is looking really good right now.
Wow.
Well, looking at a new member of the 44 club with a 44.775, putting Kirihara in 3rd.
Look at the gap difference. It's only under a 10th for the lead.
Yeah, those top 3 all separated by under a 10th, and it's only a second 10th to include Kalmari in that as well for the top 4.
Almari, meanwhile, just entering the 3rd sector just now. The most technical part of the circuit, the most controversial part of the circuit, but a bit of a guilty pleasure for me, personally. But either way, Danak Kalmari is up by 4/10, so this is going to be an improvement by a long shot. This will be the pole position by a long shot if he keeps this up. Coming into the chicane now, a good lap could die right here. Keeps it steady. Here we go, to the left, now to the right. All good here. It loses a bit of time on the exit of 15, now through 16. It's still going to be enough to grab pole position by a long shot. It's going to be a 144.460 for the Ferrari driver, up 2.5 tenths on Lucas Lichten. So great lap.
Definitely puts pressure on everyone else as well, looking at that gap, thinking, well, can I really find that at this point of the session when I've probably already made almost the most of this? But no doubt it's got Lucas and Isaac and Ryoma all asking themselves some difficult questions.
We are going to find out. Lucas Lichten is on his final flying lap of the session. I don't think he's going to be able to reach the start-finish line for another. So there we go. This is going to be the one. This is going to be the one that counts. The money lap here. Lucas Lichten coming out of turn 2 pretty cleanly into 3, up 2/10 now. It's not enough for the pole position, but if he's able to find just a few hundredths off of maybe 2/10, it'd probably be just enough to eke out Danak Kalmari. Coming into turn 4, then rolling out into the little straight that leads into turn 5. Lost a lot of time exiting there, actually. Now under a 10th improvement from his best. Out of turn 5 into turn 6. A little kink in turn 6, and then hard break into turn 7 to lead up to the fast right-hander at turn 8, which you need to use the most track as possible. Very easy to get it wrong here. See what Lucas Lichten here does. Pretty clean through here, just enough to not get off track, but there is 2 cars ahead of Lucas. That's the number 96 of Imaging Zane's, I believe number 21 of Zul Akihata, probably on their flying laps as well. Yes, they are. So Lucas Lichten has no choice but to just grit his teeth. Hopefully he doesn't catch up to them.
Well, or I hope that he can time it right and just catch a little bit of slipstream, just running up to the start-finish straight, and maybe just eke out a few extra hundreds, maybe? Because looking at this qualifying session right now, that could well make the difference.
I think this is enough, April. I think this is enough. He's up 3/10 coming into turn 16, the final corner of the circuit. Is it going to be enough for the pole position? It's going to be a 144.395, just about. Danak Kalmari now just starting their own flying lap. Just about made it to the start-finish line. Isaac Garbus finishes his qualifying session with a 144.765, no improvement there. Kaito Nasa is on the pole in AM class, a great result for Kaito Nasa. The Solo Drewcroft is also improving on her best lap time, but it's not going to be enough to gain any positions. We'll take a look back at Danak Kalmari, however, because this is for the overall pole position, and this could be the biggest story of the race so far. These two just heavyweights of the series just battling it out here.
Yeah, definitely. Watching that delta as well. This is a very consistent with Danak's best
Oh,
lap. We've seen
no!
8 out of turn 9. Oh. That's such a shame that it ends that way, but nonetheless, that's still a very solid showing. 2 drivers separated by, what was that, about a 10th, 2/10 for pole? Still a very respectable result to be starting second.
That was a very intense call, more intense than usual, actually. I always say it was a great qualifying session, but that one kept me on my toes. But for now, we will check out the grids, I cannot speak. We'll do our grid walk for the third round of the Vtracc Challenge, Season 2, 2024. Of course, you saw on pole, that was Lucas Lichten in the number 5, excuse me, I cannot speak today. Let me try and adjust this real quick. There we go. Alright. So, in first position, as you've seen before, Lucas Lichten in the number 998 Porsche 911 for Team Mofu. Then it is Donat Kalmari in the 54 Ferrari. Isaac Armas in the number 722 Mercedes AMG. Then is Ryoma Kirihara in 4th. Austin Yanfire making her pro class debut in 5th. Jordan Bunch is in pole for silver in 6th. 7th is Dirty Kohai just behind the two championship contenders in silver. Kaito Nasa takes their first pole and Am in 8th. Zul Akihara continuing their great results in qualifying in 9th. Soleil Drogcrox in 10th, third in Am. Then it's Ryuma Tatsuyama, Imetric Zanes, and Faro Okami, both the McLarens. Well, I should say Imetric Zanes and Faro Okami, both the McLarens, rounding out the grid for today's Spanish V-Prix. As we get set for the race here, 60 minutes, as per usual this season. 6 o'clock in the morning, track is still fast. 22 degrees air, and 22 degrees track.
Only fast track conditions though, so there will be some pace to see build up as the race goes on. Especially as these drivers will be looking to transfer their tyres down into the road as much as possible. These tyres are designed to last an hour, of course, but these drivers only need them to last half an hour, as they'll be changing tyres halfway through. So the question becomes how to spend your tyres as quickly as possible to get the most out of them in half an hour instead of the full hour.
We're going to be keeping a close eye on Donat Kalmari and Lucas Lichten battling for the overall lead, especially Donat Kalmari, who has been just the victim of drive-through penalties at the last few races. Thankfully, as you said before in the broadcast, not too many places to get an off-track penalty, but I mean, we've seen drivers invalidate their lap, probably because of really pushing, but I mean, still need to be careful, still need to be mindful of how much you can exploit the track. See Donat Kalmari going side by side with Lucas Lichten, trying to get into his head maybe, trying to maybe get him to make a mistake, but Lucas Lichten has been pretty much perfect, has not set a foot wrong in the season just yet. Just yet, I say, because there's still half the season to go, more than half the season to go, well, with this race, but after this round, half the season, we're halfway, and still a lot can happen in the Vtracc Challenge, and a lot has happened.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a very eventful season up until this point, actually. It's been really exciting to watch, and yeah, I can't wait to see what the next race holds for us, as well as the 3 more that we have after this for the rest of the season.
I would not count out Isaac Umbras, however, in the number 722 Yukai Racing Mercedes. Probably the dark horse of this race, I'd say. Was pretty nervous to be in the pro class, because obviously when you see the pro, you expect, oh my goodness, I'm going to be in with the people who just know what they're doing and just have been in this game for quite a while. But Isaac Umbras was actually pretty close with the top runners for a little bit in the qualifying session. And if these two sort of make a mistake or get into each other, whatever, Isaac Umbras could be there to pick up the pieces.
Definitely, and I think that's definitely a risk as well, looking at that Kalmari sort of setting the tone for the race now before it's even started, saying, hey, you know, I want this lead position, I want first place, and I'm ready to try quite hard for it, making that very clear right now. We've still got the rest of Sector 3. We've still got, 4 corners to go before the race actually starts, and that Kalmari is already desperate to take first. So, yeah, it's going to be all down to the judgment of these two drivers to see what happens to these two, and what kind of opportunities come up for Isaac Umbras in third.
The race is rarely won on lap 1, but it could be easily lost there too. Coming around the final quarter, turn 16, very slow crawl to the start-finish line here. only up to 70 kilometers an hour, anywhere faster, and it's a penalty waiting for the green lights to turn on. Lucas Lichten has got a pretty good lead on Denat Kalmari. There's 3 drive-throughs already for drivers in the Ant class, possibly for mispositioning on the start, but however, at the lead, we have Denat Kalmari tucking in behind Lucas Lichten to get the toe off. Now into turn 1, fanning out 3 wide into turn 1. We see there Denat Kalmari trying to get alongside. Ryoma Kirihara already made a move on Isaac Umbras. We'll see if there's any trouble into turn 3. No, everybody's able to keep it nice and clean. Oh, as I say that, Kaito Nasa gets turned. The pulse hitter gets turned by Soleil Vtracc. Have to see what happened there. Oh my goodness. Already, it's all starting to happen.
Always danger with people getting excited for the start of the race, want to make the most of that. So using a lot of the track there on the entry into turn 1. So far, so good. But you can just see the little temptations of making this 3 wide coming up here.
Ooh, you know what?
That's what happened.
I think Soleil Vtracc washed up wide and, you know, didn't expect to get into the number 19 cars, Kaito Nasa. Stewards will be looking into that one, but I don't think that was intentional at all. You know, it happens, but either way, stewards are not going to take kindly to that. As we take a look back at the lead between, oh my goodness, actually it's between Lucas Lichten, Denat Kalmari, and Ryoma Kirihara.
Yeah, got a train here of a lot of pressure. We of course have Denat Kalmari, who's already made it very clear he wants first place. But nonetheless, Ryoma Kirihara, there we go, has joined the fray as well, trying to keep some pressure on there as well, making Kalmari's job very difficult of having to both defend and attack both at the same time.
Denat Kalmari pulled up just a little bit of a gap on the final sector on Ryoma Kirihara. Now Ryoma Kirihara is in the grasp of Isaac Umbras. Right behind Isaac Umbras is Jordan Brunch in the lead of the silver class. Asa and the Empire dropped a few positions overall and now is 6th. However, and 5th in Pro Class, Tode Kohai 2nd in Silver, and 7th in... 7th overall, it's 2nd in Silver, excuse me. Faro Kami leads the way in Am, so it all fell into place for them, and Imagic Zane's just behind, so the 2 Yandere cars, I believe, have got out in this pretty lucky.
Yeah, I suppose it helps as well, those first lap penalties, presumably for people being out of position. It looks like those penalties are all being served right now. You can see those cars all in the pit lane. But these are also the cars that got tangled up in that lap 1 incident as well. So the people in Am who managed to stay clear of that are ready to just run away with it, try and make the most of that breathing room they've now got.
Exactly, as Denat Kalmari loses about, is now just the 2nd behind. Ooh, we had a disconnect. I believe that was Soleil Vtracc. Unfortunately,
it was, yeah.
Yeah, might have retired from the race. Unfortunate for the Sheep mom, maybe not looking to continue the race. Very frustrated. I would be very frustrated as well, or very, you know, beside myself. Seemed to be just a genuine accident, but what just washed up the racetrack at turn 3, and you know, get together, it could happen. Meanwhile, going back to the battle at hand here, actually a battle for the Am class lead. I believe Faro Kami went off track, and that will give Imagic Zane's the lead. So these 2 drivers, very clear ahead of Zul Akihara, who's in 3rd place now.
Yeah, just had a quick peek. Looks like Okami just ran a little bit deep, and that let Imagic Zane through. But nonetheless, these 2 are still close enough to keep this interesting. And over the next 56 minutes, a lot could still happen.
Asa and the Empire has Jordan Brunch past her, and might be pretty hard to pass the Scottish Minister of Defence here. Jordan Brunch is known for making that Ferrari about 5 lanes wide, even. We'll see if Asa and the Empire is able to at least poke a little hole in that little fort.
That's the thing, isn't it? Like, it's just about getting your foot in the door, and once you've done that, you can start trying to squeeze the rest of yourself through. Because at that point, they've got to leave the space, and you're in with a shot.
I always love to see Julian Strasser in the chat enjoying the race. Lucas Lichten leads the way in overall and in pro. Then just behind Denat Kalmari coming out of turn 9. Then Ryoma Kirihara, who jumped a position on the start ahead of Isaac Umbras. Then Jordan Brunch. And then Also, the Empire rounding out the Pro class. Then, not too far behind, Tori Kohai. And then you see Iometric Zanes just entering turn 9, I believe. Yes, turn 9. In the number 96 Bagu X Vitality Racing. Excuse me, Vitality Racing car, not Yandere Racing. I'm used to these cars being Yandere Racing, but these are just the Bagu X Vitality. Then we have Faro Okami. And then the rest who had those drive-thrus and the damage they had to fix.
Yeah, of course. See that as well with that large time buffer between second and third right now. Currently 36 seconds separating them. Second and third, and that is.
Meanwhile, Isaac Umbers with flashing light trying to get into the head of Ryoma Kirihara, trying to coerce him to a mistake here.
Yeah, still not close enough to really make a move, but makes you wonder if you ever see flashing lights. I always wonder if someone's done something or someone's annoyed or upset about something. It's always my first instinct anytime I see it.
A good point. Perhaps Ryoma Kirihara was a bit too aggressive getting past Isaac Umbers. Isaac Umbers just really determined to get around now, or determined to let his opinion be no. Isaac Umbers, not usually the one I think of being getting really aggressive or really angry at somebody. So if he does have beef with another VTuber, then that is pretty surprising, but it could happen. Nonetheless, here Isaac Umbers is still not within striking distance of Ryoma Kirihara. They're line astern. They're under a second, but just not enough to make any moves here. Just behind this pack of two, and behind just behind this pack of two, there's Jordan Bunch being caught by Asa and the Empire, but Asa and the Empire will soon have to deal with the defensive skills of Jordan Bunch. Meanwhile, looks like at further ahead, Isaac Umbers has gained just a little bit of time from Ryoma Kirihara. Ryoma Kirihara possibly making a mistake into turn 11, now out of turn 12 and then into the chicanes, these blasted chicanes, as many drivers would call them.
Many drivers, but not you.
Yeah. It's always...
Yeah, and I think just using a bit of that exit curb there as well, just up on that little anti-cut. Probably a small time loss, but nonetheless still hanging in there, trying to just crowd up that mirror for Kirihara.
That was his best lap of the race so far, so he's definitely flying.
Oh, there you go then, yeah.
Meanwhile, Lucas Licton has set his own best lap of the race, and that's going to be the best lap of the session so far. Actually, it would have been Donat Kalmari, but Donat Kalmari's lap was invalid. That lap was deleted. It was a 144.772, but Lucas Licton's valid lap of the 144.840 is going to be the one that gets posted up. So it's going a bit back and forth between these two.
It really is, yeah. We've always got like two duels that have just emerged quite nicely here and unfolding quite interestingly. And anytime you get a lull in one, sure enough you can count on the other one to be dramatic and just keep you busy in the meantime.
Donat Kalmari not afraid to just push the limits, use all the track. I paid for the whole track, I'm gonna use the whole track. Donat Kalmari now a lot closer to the rear end of that Porsche, flashing the lights, letting him know he's there.
As if Lucas Licton didn't know that already. No doubt Lucas is thinking about that, feeling the pressure right now, knowing that any little mistake, and Donat Kalmari will be all over him.
Well, you say that, but I believe that Lucas Licton is probably one of the most composed drivers in the field. I mean, you've seen him just consistent laps, lap after lap in the past 2 rounds. So I think Donat Kalmari has a pretty big task on his hands if they want to sort of coerce Lucas Licton into a mistake. Gonna have to try really hard to do that. Meanwhile, further back in the field, Austin the Empire catching up to Jordan Brunch. Austin the Empire sort of going back and forth between this gap here.
It's that kind of awkward phase, isn't it? Of as you get close, you just lose the downforce to keep up. The gap grows again, and you end up just swinging back and forth a little bit over the course of a few attempts. It's quite difficult to get a move done, but there's got to be one in there somewhere. So Asa's just got to keep on looking, keep on hanging on to the back of that car.
And Donat Kalmari has set the best lap of the race by quite a margin, 144.590 compared to the last best lap of the race, which was a 144.840. So that's about, I want to say, about 2.5 tenths. So a pretty big gap there, but I mean, you still have a big portion to pass on the racetrack, especially on a track or passing opportunities could be a little bit sketchy.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Uh, Especially because these lap times are really quick as well. Like, this is so much closer to qualifying lap times than I was expecting us to see in a race session. Actually, having said that, I've just noticed the track condition is up to optimum now as well, so
Yes,
this track is running a lot quicker.
I was gonna bring this up that yes, it's actually optimum track conditions compared to when the on the qualifying session it was fast, so the track is definitely a lot better now. So these drivers can just push for all their get all the speed out of these cars.
Yeah, that would do it. That would explain it.
Now the car is coming to not Kalmari because that gap is shrinking ever so slightly. The dirty air is probably not really helping.
No, it's that same problem. As we see
Ooh.
Lucas Lichten posting a new fastest lap as well. These two drivers are trading it back and forth right now. New fastest lap being a 44.587.
A lot of battles going on here. You see Isaac Umbras and Ryoma Kirihara duking it out, and also Austin the Empire and Jordan Brunch battling it out as well. Austin the Empire and Jordan Brunch the closest on the racetrack, actually, just by maybe a few tenths or so. Jordan Brunch goes just a little bit wide at the apex of turn 2, but is able to keep it steady there. Take a look back at Denat Kalmari and Lucas Lichten. Just a lot to keep an eye on here.
That's what we want out of a race, though. We do want, to have whiplash from the amount of excitement going on in all different places.
This is what we came to see for the Vtracc challenge hosted by tracc.eu. You see the fastest VTubers alive. Well, maybe a bar for one here in the booth. I'm just kidding, I'm just tuning my own horn. As Ryoma Tateyama is stopped on the racetrack, actually not too far ahead of the battling cars here. They're gonna get it back up and running. They were in the grass, spun around. Has some damage on the front end of that Ford Mustang. Possibly looped it on the exit of turn 12. Cuts across the chicane, so that car is not handling too healthily. Ryoma Tateyama just not having a great race so far. I believe it was caught up, well, it wasn't caught up in the accident on lap 1, but I think it was one of the cars that had a drive-through penalty.
Yeah, I think you're right. And of course that always puts a dampener on your spirits for the whole race as well. Leaves you thinking I need to push a little bit harder, just kind of make up for that. That's right when the mistakes start piling up as well.
So though, I mean, nothing's changed if you just left and just returned. 47 minutes to go. Lucas Lichten is at the head of the field. Denat Kalmari not too far behind, nipping at the tails, numerous tails of the Team Mofu Racing driver. Then it is Ryoma Kirihara battling with Isaac Umbras, trying to keep Isaac Umbras behind. Then it is Austin and the Empire trying to get past Jordan Brunch for 5th overall. Take a look back at Austin the Empire and Jordan Brunch going back and forth, as I said before. Now it's under half a tenth. Half a second, I should say, once again. So, some pace being traded back and forth. One driver does a good lap, another driver does a good lap. One driver makes a mistake, the other makes this mistake somewhere else.
Yeah, it's all balancing out, isn't it? But I'm very curious, actually, if we're going to see Jordan Brunch's trademark defensive tricks all coming out on show here. Because, of course, these two drivers are not in the same class. As the Empire recently moved up into Pro. Therefore, whatever position these two are in makes no difference to the points that they get in the championship. So once Aston and the Empire manages to get closer and starts having a go, I'm really curious to see how that looks.
Oh, you know what? It's very close for the battle for the lead now. Let me check real quick on my timing and scoring sheet. Screen, I should say. Timing and scoring screen. I think I got my mouse to cooperate. There we go. Yes, Denat Kalmari has caught up just a bit to the rear of Lucas Lichten. Lucas Lichten had a very slow lap, not very slow, but a slower lap in comparison to Denat Kalmari. 145 compared to a 144. So Denat Kalmari is making a statement now.
Yeah, you see Denat Kalmari just tucked in under the tail wing of that Porsche, up in the lead right now. Yes, I'm making this a thing, we're running with it. I've been talking this whole season as well about the pace variation in the Porsche throughout a stint, with the fuel tank being pretty much right between the two front wheels. So it can be very disruptive going from a full tank to an empty tank in that car. I wonder if we're seeing that unfold a little bit here as well, but I've been saying that every race so far, and Lucas Lichten just makes it look like it's not happening. Every lap's a quick one, every lap's a good one.
Well, we might see that now with Danat Kalmari. I mean, in the picture now. I mean, most of the time we've seen actually no, never mind. I believe that is actually. Let me take a quick look here. No, that is just a lap car. I believe that was a three. I thought that was a three-way battle for the final podium position in Pro, but that was just Isaac Rumbas and Ryoma Kirihara getting past the lap car of Ryuma Tateyama. So we'll stick here for now, the closest battle we have. But the races that we have seen Lucas Lichten, you know, not lose any pace or be really consistent. You know, he was by himself. I mean, he was able to sort of cruise around because of Danat Kalmari making a mistake. But now, with Danat Kalmari putting the pressure on and maybe able to learn from their mistakes in the past rounds, you know, maybe you'll see something different. Maybe we will see the little small, the little small flaws of the Porsche come out compared to the Ferrari.
That is a very good point, actually, yeah. Right when, you know, these kind of situations where the last 1%, Lucas just didn't need them. But Danat Kalmari's making sure that right now Lucas Lichten does need every last little 1% out of that car right now.
Danat Kalmari was... Sorry, go on.
Oh, I love watching the cars through that chicane as well. The little, like, flick of the rear end as they accelerate out. It's just so satisfying to watch.
Yeah. Lucas Lichten with a 144.877 and Danat Kalmari with 145.280. So, you know, they're trading pace. You know, one driver's faster, the other, another's faster. It's just going back and forth.
Yeah, you're right. And that best lap right now as well, only separated by 3 thousandths right now between these two drivers. So it really is neck and neck in terms of what potential they've got.
Keeping an update you on all the classes, Jordan Bunch still leads in silver. Today Kohai is behind Asa Neon Pyre overall, but is second in silver. It's still a good point stay. If you show up, you get points. And that's exactly what Dirty Kohai is doing. Ahead of all the AM drivers, so the upgrade was definitely very deserved. Magic Zanes is first in AM, speaking of the AM class. For Faro Okami, his teammate, just behind. Zula Kihara is in the final podium position in third. Kaito Nasa, quite a ways back, so Zula Kihara probably the safest, probably very safe in that podium position. Unless something drastic happens, Kaito Nasa, you've seen, unfortunately, in the opening stanza of the race, gone into that incident. That was just a bit of a getting together between Solo Drew Cox going 3 wide, just the usual starting intensity. As Lucas Lichten's pulled out a pretty big, not pretty big, but it's pulled out a gap. Last lap was 144.982, and Danat Kalmari seems to be struggling. Actually, Diametric Zanes is off the racing surface. Your AM class leader. What's going on here? Oh my goodness. What's going on there?
I'm not sure. I'm going to struggle trying to figure this one out.
Oh my goodness. Wow, that's a tremendous shift. Oh my goodness. That might be hardware issues or something, because that was just really sudden. I saw Image James just stopped on the racetrack, and I couldn't figure out why. I'll go back a minute on the replay and see if I could get anything out of this. He just stops. Ooh, he just stops very wide on the left-hand side, almost in like the chicane after turn 9, and just immediately disconnects.
Yeah, that's really strange. Well, I suppose we'll just have to wait and find out what's happened there later. In the meantime, we've got all our usual chases still going on. Danat Kalmari still putting pressure on Lucas Lichten. Isaac Umbris still putting pressure on Ryoma Kirihara.
We'll get back to the live pictures in just a bit. I had to go back a whole minute to see what happened there, but for just I think it was just an unfortunate must have been hardware, or must have been something, because he was leading. I couldn't think of a reasonable reason to retire from the lead other than, oh, Imaging Zane's is back.
Yeah, so it's not a retirement. It looks like it was just a game crash, and now Imaging Zane's is just waiting for that time to run down and get back into this race, get back stuck into the action.
Imaging Zane's actually, ooh, he just fell out of the podium position, so that's really unfortunate. Kaito Nasa now inherits that podium position, I believe. According to my timing and scoring, I don't believe it's updated. There we go. It's updated on screen now. Kaito Nasa now is third after that huge accident, so able to keep on going. Just shows the commitment.
Yeah, definitely. And shows what the potential is in just sticking with it when things seem like they're going wrong. Because of course, this is racing, it's an eventful sport, so a lot can happen, and yeah, there's every chance to just pull it back and end up back on the podium like this.
Meanwhile, speaking of a lot happening, these two are back close together. Lucas Lichten might have made a mistake somewhere, or maybe it was trying to avoid the lap, trying to get around the lap car of Kaito Nasa, but whatever it was, it made him post a slow lap, 146.195 compared to Donat Kalmari's 145.437. Maybe a mistake, or maybe just got caught behind in a really awkward spot between a lap car. Yeah, either way, it's allowed Donat Kalmari to catch right back up and get that toe.
Yeah, and it took quite a long time for Lucas to shake Donat Kalmari before, and now that's all been undone. I imagine it's going to be another while before we see Lucas Lichten get a bit of breathing room again. Seeing how close Donat's getting through. Is that turn 5? Yeah, the pressure's definitely on right now.
Flash on the lines, making sure that he's known that he's there.
Just making sure he's ready for... I don't know, what are we expecting? Are we expecting like a huge dive bomb from miles back, maybe?
Ooh, I don't know, as there's a yellow flag on the circuit just after the chicane. That is Ryuma Tateyama. Not Ryuma Kirihara, Ryuma Tateyama, for just having a great day in the Ford Mustang. Oh, Lucas Lichten sideways, very sideways, Tokyo Drift almost. Coming, oh my goodness, now they're super close. Do not get into each other. Ooh, keep it clean into the chicane, you can't go side by side here. Thankfully, Donat Kalmari thinks otherwise, just stays behind, patience. You see maybe Lucas Lichten is losing the rear tires. This might be the first time we see Lucas Lichten show weakness.
Yeah, definitely. We also just saw that thing about if you just get your foot in the door as well. There can't have been more than a few centimeters of overlap between the two cars going into that chicane, but nonetheless, it's enough. Lucas Lichten knows he's got to leave the space, and he's now compromising his line, losing a bit of speed, and helping Donat Kalmari to stay on the back. Him slow out of turn 2 there. Donat Kalmari following extremely close, almost as if there is no slipstream, as if the downforce isn't affected. Both cars running wide here out of 3.
Coming in turn 4 now, Donat Kalmari looking to the inside, nothing doing just yet.
No, not yet, but I can still see that that Porsche and Lucas Lichten pivoting a little bit on that exit there. Looks like the rears just can't quite keep up anymore. Or if they can, they can't do it easily anymore.
Yeah, we're just about halfway, so maybe this is about the time where the tires start falling off, and maybe it's starting to show a ton for Lucas Lichten, who's had to push for quite a while now, especially trying to fend off Donat Kalmari. So maybe this is what we said. Both drivers go off there and validate their lap. That's that at turn 9, like you said, probably the biggest point of the track where you can get a pretty big penalty. So both drivers cutting it very close there. Maybe that both drivers coming out with a warning or so or something. You gotta be careful with that.
They definitely do, and that's exactly the kind of mistake that Donat Kalmari is trying to pressure Lucas Lichten into making as well. So, definitely the kind of mistake you want to be following Lucas Lichten into there, but the person in front of you gets to drive through track limits, you get the position, unless you get the same penalty.
I'm sure Ryoma Kirihara would be happy if these two both got a penalty. Ryoma Kirihara just fending off, actually goes into the pits. Was fending off Isaac Umbras, but now into the pits, taking his mandatory stop. I believe, actually, no, the third driver take their mandatory stop. These two have not taken it just yet. Will we see Lucas Lipton dive in early because of perhaps the tires going away? Or, you know, maybe...
It's hard to say, because I get the feeling that Danak Kalmari could drive faster than Lucas Lichten here, and the only reason that these two are matched in pace is Danak is stuck behind Lucas and can't find a way past. Which means any amount of being out of sync and the pit strategy that they have is time for Danak to just drive faster and potentially make the overtake in the pit lane. So it's difficult to say. It's almost like, if that's true, then I imagine Lucas is the one who wants to react to what Danak's doing, which is of course impossible from the lead.
But of course you don't want to let Danak by because Danak definitely has the pace.
Yeah,
Here
exactly,
he goes.
yeah. See him go for the lunge up here into the arena section towards the end of the lap.
Side by side might have made a little bit of contact, but nothing too bad there. Lucas Lichten's able to take back the position though, coming into turn 12. Now into turn 13, this is a bit of a single file portion of the racetrack here, and with traffic ahead, it's going to make it pretty interesting here. That's the number 275 of Ryoma Tateyama, and number 11 of Faro Okami, the leader in AM. Ooh, Ryoma Tateyama misses the chicane, both drivers have to avoid it, and Danak Kalmari got both of them going to the pits right away.
I'd have lost money on that. If I was Danak, I would have definitely stayed out, but really interested to see how this unfolds now as well. And of course that side-by-side moment, another moment where these two drivers show exactly why they're pro drivers. It's not just about the pace, it's about how they race each other as well. Because you could barely fit a piece of paper between those two cars, but nonetheless, they got through it perfectly smoothly.
So now Jordan Bench will inherit the overall lead because Isaac Umbers is also in the pits, so Jordan Bench now in the lead at the moment. At least just being ahead, like, hasn't taken his mandatory stop, but still technically in the lead, trying to fend off Asa the Empire, who's been there for quite a while, actually. Their 2 lap times have been pretty consistent so far, both driving in the mid 46s. So Jordan Brunch definitely punching above his weight at the moment, out driving a pro class driver. It might not be a strong track for Asa the Empire. Asa the Empire actually closes a lot under braking there.
Sorry to interrupt, but I'm just watching the Lucas Lichten Kalmari pit stop situation. Lucas Lichten is exiting out in front. Lucas Lichten retains the lead after their mandatory pit stops.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Kalmari didn't stay out for a little bit longer, but maybe the traffic ahead just made them change their mind.
Maybe, and there's definitely no traffic in front right now. They've both got some clean air to just settle their differences in without too much external influence right now. So, yeah, the only variable really is each other right now.
So this is possibly the net lead now, and it's nothing between these two. It's under like a couple tenths now as they go through turn 4 and now into turn 5. The little straight here, as I said before, a little tiny bit of straight before you need to brake hard for this almost hairpin. Danak Kalmari just trying to get the exit speeds over Lucas Lichten, but Lucas Lichten has a great run out of the corners.
It's that rear engine, those exits are just so strong because there's so much traction on those rear tires. I guess it's exactly why they don't last like on other cars.
Meanwhile, it's another close battle for the current lead, actually. It's Jordan Brunch and Austin the Empire. Can Austin the Empire get the move done using the slipstream? I don't think it's close enough, but if Nasa is brave enough, she can definitely outbrake Jordan. Not going to make any moves here, so nothing just yet. We'll return to... Actually, ooh, Jordan Brunch made a mistake, and that's going to gift the lead for now to Asa the Empire. So Asa the Empire thankfully did not have to deal with any of the Scottish Minister of Defense shenanigans, and is cleanly ahead of the Mirai United VTuber Racing Team driver. We will return to the net lead battle between Danak Kalmari and Lucas Lichten. Well, actually, before we do, Dulak Ihara had a moment here. We'll take a look really quickly. Just too hot into the chicane.
Yeah, and then of course running off onto that concrete runoff, which just doesn't have the same grip as a racetrack. Makes it so much easier to spin around. But it's a good setup for getting back onto the track, I suppose. Lines you up nicely for that.
Somebody else went AWOL. That is Ryoma Tateyama. Just a bad day gone worse. Oh, did not come over looking to the inside. Oh my goodness! They both spin! They both spin! They take each other out! Lucas looking to get the best out of it! Did not come over, has to get his Ferrari going in the right direction. Ryoma Kirihara has to avoid, and Isaac Umbra is just behind, is not able to catch the spinning car Did not Kalmari, but either way, Did not Kalmari has lost a ton of time. We're gonna have to look back at that incident between Lucas Lichten and Donat Kalmari. Nearly both of them spun around, but Lucas Lichten was able to keep it going. Meanwhile, Donat Kalmari got the worst end of it.
Yeah, it looks like it's just a little lunge that just might have been a little bit too ambitious. It's kind of hard to tell from this angle, but oh, it's such a slow recovery as well for Kalmari there. We see, is that Kirihara as well? Just running a little bit wide, trying to avoid the spun car.
Yeah, Kirihara had to go wide to avoid. Donat Kalmari was trying to rejoin. A bit of a risky rejoin there from Kalmari. Probably really panicked, trying to get back onto the racing surface, not lose as much time as he can to Lucas Lichten, but the damage is already done. There's a car between them and Lucas Lichten, and that's Ryuma Kirihara, who is not one to just, you know, fall back and let somebody pass him.
No, definitely. I imagine that's a huge relief for Lucas Lichten right now as well, who's just finally got some breathing room, especially with Kirihara there. All the time that it takes Kalmari to get past Kirihara, you can see how much they want it, but nonetheless, it's going to take time, and that's time that just gives Lucas a little bit more time to relax and just find his own pace.
You say relief, April, but Lucas Lichten was probably needed a change of underwear after that, because can only just sigh relief, just go phew after he was able to keep it corralled, because oh my goodness, that was really both of them sideways, and that could have been an easy lead for Ryuma Kirihara as Dirty Kohai suffers a stop-and-go 30 for speeding in pit lane. Unfortunate for the new silver debutant. Just, oh my goodness. Gotta feel for Dirty Kohai, who's been doing great up until that.
Yeah, especially just keeping that chase for silver, like interested in this whole race as well.
Onset and the Empire goes into the pits, so the last car, actually not the last car to go in the pits, Kaito Nasa is the next car to go into the pits, so both cars doing their mandatory stops, both cars, the last two that have not made their mandatory stops, and they do so, and so that means everybody is clear, everybody is safe until the end. So meanwhile, Donat Kalmari having to recover from that big lunge, that big dive, and then the spin immediately after, nearly spinning out Lucas Lichten. Lucas Lichten lucky to get away with it. Donat Kalmari not so much, having to spin around in the grass for a few moments. A little pirouette before finally getting going, nearly in front of Ryoma Kirihara, but Kirihara now snaking across the track to break the toe. Donat Kalmari looking for any chance to get around and gain back time. We've seen Donat Kalmari able to maybe recover a bit at Red Bull Ring, but of course we know what happened at Red Bull Ring before. Donat Kalmari got that drive-through penalty due to track limits and just essentially gifted the win to Lucas Lichten. Ryuma Kirihara is going very wide actually out the exit of turn 3.
Yeah, I might just be making the most of the track, just using everything, because that green runoff there is surprisingly usable on this track.
Oh yeah, you can definitely brake when you're right on it, even.
Yeah, 100% full pressure. It's absolutely calm.
Dirty Kohai is now serving his stop-and-go 30. Unfortunate for him, but just really got to take note of where the pit speed limit. Oh my goodness! Oh no! Oh my goodness! It just goes from bad to worse for Donat Kalmari. He gets into the rear of Ryoma Kirihara into turn 9 and just spins him around. We'll take a look back at that again. Oh, it's just speed differences there, just misjudged.
Yeah, it's that eagerness on Kalmari's side to just get some momentum and start closing up that gap that's just grown from that one mistake. Because it seems like it seems quite rare you get one mistake like this. It's either none or a few all in succession as you start trying to compensate for the last one, trying to catch up.
Ryuma Tateyama just came out to say that stuff was too effed, needed to retire, probably possibly referring to the damage that they received on their vehicle. From, I don't believe it was from the incident at lap 1, but I believe it was another. I believe it was somewhere in sector 3 where they spun out and hit the wall possibly, so unfortunate for them. It's going to be a retirement.
Yeah, that is a shame.
Meanwhile, Lucas Lichten once again comfortably in the lead. You know, deja vu, it's the same story. We've seen this movie once before.
We have, right down to the car drifting around as well. We've seen a lot of good drifts out of this car, and I swear I watched a TV show about a car in those colours doing a lot of drifting. And as I understand it, it tended to win races, so I don't know, there might be something there.
Maybe Lucas had something, maybe this was Lucas's plan all along, just drift to the win.
Well, one thing's for sure, we'd all be watching if he did.
Denat Kalmari, meanwhile, just having to recover from that major incident between Lucas Lichten and now Ryuma Kirihara, trying to get past Ryuma Kirihara. This is where they got together. Not close enough to do the same mistake again. Still need to be careful, but they definitely have the momentum, they definitely have the speed to get around. Just, again, I mean, you know, overtaking is a skill of its own. Just jukes to the inside immediately. Ryuma Kirihara gets a bit caught off guard. It's like, whoa, I don't want you to get into me again, and just gets out of the way. And Denat Kalmari now back into the podium positions, but 18 seconds, almost 19 seconds away from Lucas Lichten now, so that's a lot of time lost.
That is, we're looking at almost a second a minute that Kalmari needs to find on Lucas Lichten to close that gap before the end of the race right now. No pit stops at this point as well. Pit stops are all done, so that's all just gonna have to be done in on-track pace.
And Lucas Lichten would have to run 46s for that to be possible, but Lucas Lichten is Lucas Lichten, and he's running 145.3, 130s consistently, so Denat Kalmari has a pretty big mountain to climb at this point. They're gonna have to hope that Lucas Lichten finds some trouble here, but with not many cars running around the circuit at the moment, it's pretty smooth sailing for the Team Mufu driver.
Yeah, this is Lucas in his element right now. No doubt he's gotten quite comfortable with this position over the course of the season.
And Lucas Lichten has championship experience. That's what the word I was looking for. He has a championship under his belt from a previous season. So
That's true.
he does have the pedigree to show that he can just cruise to the end and yet still keep up a good pace. Was the class of the field that season was only bested by, I believe it was who was it? I believe it was Ice or Ambra the season after that.
Yes, that's right. Yes, I remember that.
Ryuma Kirihara trying to gain back time on Denat Kalmari, wants that podium position back. Was a bit accosted by that incident because he was ahead of Isaac Umpers by quite a bit. Now just now having to pick up the pieces.
I think it's always shakes your confidence a little bit as well. You know, when you've got someone following close behind you, yeah, it's a lot of pressure and it's quite nerve-wracking. But once the person's actually hit you and you've both lost ground to that and had to recover from that, the next time that person's close behind you, that's in the back of your mind for a very good reason now.
Yeah.
So, of course, it's going to affect your judgment, it's going to affect your driving. And we did, of course, see Kalmari very wisely leaving a little bit of an extra buffer there just in case of that, as well as also to keep some of that pressure off, just because it didn't really seem to be working out. And I'm also kind of excited to see Kirihara hanging on to the back of Kalmari a fair bit here. You know, the gap doesn't look like a whole lot, but it's been consistently about a second. Pretty much since the overtake happened now.
Yeah, Ryuma Kirihara did not expect to hang on that much, actually. But might have found something in the car after getting past. Might have noticed, you know, maybe they're not going taking this line. Maybe like I need to go to the tire here, and you know, hasn't let the knock slip away that much.
Yeah, definitely.
Meanwhile, Isaac Armbra's getting behind rather the lap car of iMagic Zanes. iMagic Zanes out of the way. I'm using it's previously disconnected from the lead, so now it is Zul Akihara, who is involved in the lap 1 incident earlier and had it charged through, now has found themselves cycled back to the AM lead.
That's a huge turnaround after a lap 1 like that, isn't it?
Yeah, just gotta keep your foot in it. Just gotta keep believing. Just gotta, you can't give up just yet. I mean, who would have known what if Soleo Drukux? I know it's very frustrating to get involved in so many incidents, but you never know until the finish. You never know until the checkered flag flies. And Zulekihara, who has been able to just keep that attitude positive, finds themselves in the lead of the AM class ahead of Farah Okami.
So what you're saying is, don't stop believing and hold on to that feeling, yeah?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, cool.
Exactly. You read my mind perfectly. Ryoma Kitty.
Alright, there you go, Zulekihara, we found you your theme tune.
Heck yeah, we're gonna have to blast it over their voice chat, or their voice intercoms, I guess, once they cross the line.
Definitely.
As Ryoma Kirihara, as you mentioned, April, is still into the back of Not Kalmari. Still within a second, not losing any time at all, actually. I'm surprised by that.
Yeah, I am too. I wonder if there's maybe some residual damage on Kalmari's car as well from that accident. But having said that, last lap time 44.74. That's still very quick to me. That looks like lap times from a healthy car.
Maybe some of the tow is helping Kirihara stay in touch.
Maybe, yeah. That's a good point.
Because I do believe that 296... Oh, Kirihara goes a bit wide there at because of the turn 10. But I do believe that the 296 is one of the... I don't know, actually. Is it one of the slower cars in the straight line? I swear it was one of the fastest. I don't know about the acid.
I don't think it's top 3, but I think it is, like, top 6 in top speed in this game. So it's quite strong. But it can definitely still be beaten.
Isaac Arbus just set his personal best lap of the race, 145.035, so Isaac Arbus is actually able to manage the gap between himself and Denat Kamari, so definitely earning that second place on merit, that's for sure.
Yeah, easy. As much as, it may be a bit of circumstance to get to that position as well, you've still got to play your cards right and just sort of see it through to the end and bring it home at the end of the day, don't you? And that's exactly what Converse is doing right now.
Kirihara made a mistake coming into turn 1 and lost a chunk of time actually to Denat Kamari, so that's possibly Denat Kamari able to just breathe a bit. Oh, a bit sideways there, but Denat Kamari possibly getting a few reprimands from the stewards. I would come to believe, due to the not only the contact with Lucas Lichten, but the contact at turn 9 with Ryoma Kirihara that could have been avoidable. Just maybe a bit too ambitious, maybe, too aggressive. We've seen Denat Kamari just very eager to get a move done, but just gotta cool yourself off a little bit sometimes, and that can happen.
I completely agree, especially because that particular incident in turn 9 with Kirihara was a rear ending anyway.
Yes.
And one thing universally true in all car collisions is rear endings just look bad. If you rear end someone else, you're gonna have a hard time explaining your way out of it.
Yes, I mean, some people like to break out the "you broke too early" excuse. I mean,
Sure, but, saying that and it being true and demonstrably true and such are two very different things.
Yes, indeed.
And certainly an argument I don't particularly enjoy having, so thank you so much to our stewards for having the patience to ask those questions.
Yes, because the incident at turn 5 could be debatable. We still have to need to find out. Maybe it's just racing incident, close hard racing. Lucas Lichten not letting any quarter be taken by Denat Kalmari. Denat Kalmari looking for any space to get around Lucas Lichten. It was a tap on the left rear quarter panel, but I mean, it could have been anything, it is a bit of the responsibility of the passing car, but you could probably chalk that out to just hard racing. But as you said before, rear ending doesn't, doesn't look good in any circumstance.
It doesn't, no, but at least, yeah, you're absolutely right about that incident between Lucas and Calamari, though. These two, very, very capable racers. They know exactly what they're doing, and they made it very clear they both want that first place position. And they've made a fantastic show of it up until this point as well. So, you know, I don't think there's any reason to have any hard feelings. They're both very skilled racers who know exactly what they're doing. They're all here for the good competition.
There is a battle here for I believe second place in AM. It's between Kaito Nasa and Faro Kami. I didn't notice this one, but I had to scroll down a little bit. But this is a battle for position, I believe.
Yeah, you're right. I completely missed
Wait,
that.
is it? It says the gap is That's very I'm a little confused now.
No, that is for position. That's those two are separated by. Oh wait, no, I see what you mean.
Yeah, there's Kaito Nasa is 22 laps. I was on 22 laps, and Faro Kami's on 23. So I'm not sure if that's Faro Kami lapping Kaito Nasa, or if it's the other way, or if, I'm not really sure actually.
Yeah, but the gap saying that it's only just under a tenth, sorry, under a second, would suggest to me that the gap is just under a second. Otherwise, the gap would be reading as being, what, 1 minute 45, or just an entire lap? Not entirely sure.
As we were looking, Denat Kalmari set the best lap of the race, 144.530, so that damage not affecting their car too much. They've closed the gap to Isaac Umbris just a tiny bit, so Isaac Umbris has some company soon. Faro Kami, yeah, this looks like a battle for second place in AM class, excuse me. Just Faro Kami's trying to break the draft a bit. I'm led to assume that this is a battle for position.
Well, they're certainly driving like it, aren't they? So we've got to run with the information that we've got.
Faro Okami going just a little bit wide out of turn 3, down to the small straightaway into turn 4. Kaito Nasa keeping the pressure on just there, within a second of the number 11 McLaren driver. Faro Okami was in the lead of the AM class until I believe they went off track. I'm not sure what else happened that got them down to second place. I probably am misremembering. It looks like Kaito Nasa has a better run out of turn 5, got a better apex, and is able to close up the gap just a little bit more. Faro Okami, ooh, actually no, Kaito Nasa was the one that was a bit too hot into turn 7. So the gap equalizes now. Turn 9, very quick right-hander. Both drivers actually, Faro Okami went too wide and invalidates, gets that lap deleted. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough for a track limit penalty or so. But Faro Okami does go wide in turn 9 using all of the racing surface available. Both maybe overcook it at turn 10, now to turn 11. These two AM drivers definitely showing that not all the excitement is just in the pros class. Some of it is in AM as well.
Yeah, completely agree. Especially if we see Okami getting very defensive as well. Some of these lines are effectively approaching the corner from the middle of the track as well. Very much trying to cover the inside and make sure there isn't a surprise lunge up there. It all costs time, but if it saves the position, then that's what counts. Even now you can see Okami driving out onto the marbles, getting his tires all dirty, just to cover the inside because it's that important.
You see, I'm surprised Kaito Nasa isn't following in the toe of Faro Okami, but probably is just most confident in not getting in the marbles because he saw Faro Okami just overcooking in turn 1.
Exactly that. You saw the huge speed difference right up until Kaito Nasa had to slam on the brakes to avoid hitting the back of Okami there. That is the speed difference that, I guess, clean and dirty tires makes. That's a side-by-side comparison for you.
Faro Okami still able to keep second place safe from Kaito Nasa as they come into turn 5 once again with another lap. Looks like both take that corner pretty well. Kaito Nasa maybe using a bit more of the track in the exit, and therefore is able to close that gap just a bit more. But nothing between these two for now.
No, not at the moment, but
Ooh, Faro Okami made a...
nothing wants it.
Yeah, Faro Okami made a little bit of a mistake clipping that curb. Both clip the inside curb. Both of them go wide as a result.
Yeah, both have their lap times deleted as well, invalidated again. But no penalty so far. whether this is the two of them just burning through their allowance or not, it's hard to say. Because there is an algorithm for determining whether or not you gain time with a cut. And like all algorithms, it just seems a bit like some kind of magic whims of... I don't know. There's really no sense in trying to decipher it, so... just having to trust it and just hope for the best watching something like this.
They nearly went side by side into the chicane, which is something I feel very nervous the pro drivers doing. And drivers is another story, because, these drivers are not as experienced with racing each other, so it could be definitely a little bit sketchy, but they manage to get out pretty cleanly. Side by side now, just about. Kaito Nasa is winning the drag race, but he is not on the optimal line coming into the corner. Faro Okami has that covered. So Faro Okami is still able to hang on coming into turn 3. That long right-hander. Kaito Nasa might have the worst entry into there, so loses some speed. Hard braking into turn 4 now.
Yeah, we see Kaito Nasa just going a little bit deep there again. Just tripped up by that dirty air, which is very consistent at the moment. Kaito Nasa has been very consistently in that dirty air behind Okami for quite a while now. So we saw them pushing wide through turn 3, pushing deep in the brakes in turn 4, but nonetheless straight back there, ready to have another go. See braking heavily for turn 7 here. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, Kaito Nasa looks very strong at this part of the racetrack, as I was just gonna say. Oh, Faro Okami goes wide, really wide. Is able to get back onto the racing surface, but that will give second place away to Kaito Nasa. Actually, it did not register as, for some reason, as a position change, so that was a lap down, but gave us a pretty good battle nonetheless.
Yeah, always thought that when you have to fight so hard to unlap yourself. Like, genuinely, those two were fighting so hard. I thought that was for position.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It was nice to pretend for a little bit, at least.
It was. That was fun. I did enjoy that, so thank you both for the good show.
Always nice for them to put on a show for us. But actually, no, that's actually the iMagic Zanes in 11th. I thought that was Faro Okami behind Zul Akihara. They both have the same liveried McLaren. I was about to say, whoa, okay, there's a battle for the M-Class lead, but nope, there is not. Zul Akihara is just able to keep on cruising and just make no mistakes, and they will be able to see the checkered flag first in the M-Class. Meanwhile, Ryome Kirihara has lost a bit of touch with Denat Kalmari, as Denat Kalmari pushes to gain as much time as possible on second place driver Isaac Umbras, now just about 4.5 seconds behind the Yukai Racing machine.
About 3.5 tenths between them on the last lap, and only a 4-second gap, so there's no way Kalmari's looking at that and not thinking, I can do that, I can shrink that down, I can have a go at this. So yeah, Kalmari's back on a mission right here.
See Isaac Umbras on the close side of the picture, and Danat Kalmari, excuse me, now approaching turn 4. Let's go on board with Danat Kalmari for a little bit.
Just as well, during this phase of the race, Danat Kalmari has set the fastest lap of the race with a 44.53. That is faster than Lucas Lichten's, and as you can see on your timing screen, currently purple. Must have been in the last 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, I believe I did point that out, actually.
Oh, my mistake, sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. I just, but it is very notable, actually, because Danat Kalmari definitely has pace at this point in the race. Just, too many mistakes after the pit stops just really put him down to not being able to be in contention.
Yeah, but there's a fastest lap point here as well, isn't there? So there's one point that Kalmari can still take away from Lucas. So Kirihara there in the background, still keeping things quite consistent as well. Still keeping that gap at 2 seconds, but not able to shrink it down.
Lucas Lichten, in the meanwhile, getting around the lap car of Faro Okami, who we saw go wide during the little little exhibition battle between them and Kaito Nasa. Lucas Licton just once again being able to make the least mistakes out of the field so far and able to be the fastest.
Yeah. That's despite all the pressure as well that Kalmari put him under through the first, I guess, 3/4 of the race now. So, for sure, Kalmari did not make that easy.
It's a pretty tough task to try and intimidate a past champion.
It is, but I suppose that's exactly what you need to do if you want to come into a racing series like this, and if you've got a chance at winning, then that does mean standing toe-to-toe with last year's champion, with the biggest contender for taking it again, because after all, that's the person you're taking it from. Looking at the championship standings right now, this is looking like Lucas's championship, and the only way that's going to change is if someone takes it from him.
Lucas Licton would have to have a pretty bad next 3 races well, not pretty bad. I mean, it could still be rather close, as I believe, if I look at the point standings for now. So Ryoma Kirihara is actually the closest behind, so Ryoma Kirihara would probably lose a bit of ground to Lucas Licton, and if Denan Kamari is able to get at least 2nd place here, they can at least limit some of the damage. But we'll see after post-race results.
Yeah, there's a lot that could still happen as well. Denan Kalmari, of course, had a rough start to the season in the first 2 races, finishing 5th in both races, but there is a drop score in this championship. Your worst race result through the season is not counted to your final championship points. And so, if Denan Kalmari can keep the rest of the season nice and clean and stay competitive through it, then they stand a good chance of challenging Lucas Licton, who is 1 mistake away from being even with Denan Kalmari.
Ryoma Kirihara was able to claw back the gap from Denan Kalmari. Now, oh my goodness! Oh no, curse of the commentator there. Oh my goodness. Kirihara with a great save there, but that was nearly a huge accident. Let's take a look at what happened here. Oh, guys, to the grass!
Oh, that would do it. Just trying to maximize the track use a little bit too much. You can just see the steering wheel again on opposite lock there, trying to catch the slide. And it works! Fair play for car control, caught that slide.
Yeah, great save from Ryoma Kirihara. Extra points for that. Meanwhile, I'm not sure Denan Kalmari is able to close the gap because Isaac Umbers has been able to keep pretty consistent there in 2nd place.
Yeah, it's very solid pace as well. We're still looking at mid-45s, mid-high 45s. Last lap, of course, being a 45.6. The lap before that, a 45.8. Very solid pace.
Lucas Licton was able to sort of slow it down a bit, but that's just because he has such a big gap to 2nd place here. He's able to just, slow it down, just cruise to the end here.
Yeah, looking at that stage as well, where the tyre age means he's probably not challenging that fastest lap. He's probably not getting that. So it's just making the sensible decision to let that go and just bring it home.
You can look at Isaac Umbers. If he makes no other mistakes or nothing else wild happens, I think this is going to be, actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think he got 2nd at Misano last round. You were not there. Song was there with me as co-commentator, but this might be, if I'm not mistaken, this might be tied for Isaac Umbers' best result of the season. Another 2nd place in Pro, which is a great result.
Just got the results up here. It was actually a 3rd place in Misano. So this would be Isaac's best result this season, if he can stay right where he is.
Oh, alright. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no worries.
Yes, because sometimes my memory isn't so great as we round out to the final lap. Lucas Licton about to cross the line for what is supposed to be the final lap. Yes, this will be the final lap of the race with only 50 seconds to go. Kaito Nasa will start their final lap of the race, as will Isaac Umbers with not much challenge from behind. Oh, Faro Okami's got a drive-through, but I'm not sure that's going to be enough for Kaito Nasa to take advantage. And actually, that I don't think Fire Okami has time. Well, okay, they do have time to serve the drive-through. So, Kaito Nasa though is just entering turn 3, so it's not going to be enough for Kaito to get that second place. So thankfully it was at the end of the race, and thankfully it was where there was not much of a competition between anyone, but still you really want to avoid drive-thrus for the next time, just in case if that situation occurs again.
Yeah, definitely.
Take a look at Lucas Lichten. Deserves all the praise today. Was the most consistent. Was caught up in some trouble, but was able to keep that car under control, stay cool, calm, and collected. And now, as a reward, we'll be able to win this race. Time has expired, so next time that he crosses the line, it'll be the checkered flag. Going through the final sector now. Now through the chicanes for the final time. He's probably super happy to get through those chicanes for the last time, saying goodbye, never have to deal with you anymore until the next time I race here.
Definitely, just navigating these last few chicanes, just hoping there's no like car failure, no meteor strikes or anything like that. No, it looks like we're all good, just running off the last corner and sailing through to the end.
Lucas Lichten,
flashing the lights, celebrating across the line. Lucas Lichten wins in Barcelona.
Isaac Armbers, with his best result of the season, crosses the line in second for Yukai Racing. Kaito Nasa finishes on the podium in AM class. Denal Calamari finishes in third, which is somehow their best result. Ryoma Kirihara finishes fourth. Austin Empire cross going around to the chicanes. Finishes fifth in pro class, rounds out the pro field, but still a great result. Able to clear Jordan Brunch in the super class lead. Here to go high finishes the race in second in silver and 7th overall. A good result nonetheless, even though he suffered that stop go 30. Jordan Brunch, your silver class winner, just about to get through with the chicanes. Finally, around the final turn, Jordan Brunch will win once again in silver class. It is Jordan's championship season. Baro Okami finishes second in Barcelona. And Zul Akihara, your AM class leader, about to cross the line. Akihara now out of there, and Akihara just has one more to go. Hopefully no meteor strikes or anything. And Zul Akihara wins the AM class after recovering from a very, very hectic turn 3 lap 1 incident. And Magic Zanes manages to cross the line and finish the race on 75% and will count for points. Ruma Tatsuyama and Soleil Drucox, the drivers who were not able to finish and retired from the race. Congratulations to Lucas Lichten on another great result there, doing donuts, well deserved.
Definitely, what a fantastic result, and after an excellent performance, excellent showing there from Lucas Lichten.
So after all that, oh my goodness, we've had a fan favorite, Jordan Brunch, able to dominate the silver class so far. What a great result for him, and Lucas Lichten back to form. Oh my goodness, unfortunately we did not call Mari. We did not get to see them come to their full potential. I'm sure they're going to be working on that for the next round, but just another heartbreaking moment, and just another mistake.
Yeah, it is, but nonetheless, it's one of those things, isn't it? Racing's all about keeping it clean and like bringing it home as well, because being fast is just one of many skills that you need. Nonetheless, though, it's solid progress for Calamari, who has now had their best result for this season, was third, which is a big improvement over the 2 fifth position finishes in the previous 2 races.
So with that now behind us, the next round for the Vtracc challenge, I believe, is... Maybe I'm depending a bit on you, April. I'm trying to look myself.
What are you looking for, sorry?
The next round.
The next round is in 2 weeks' time, on June 29th at Zandvoort. A nice technical track that I'm sure our pro drivers will absolutely lap up. So, yeah, stay tuned, and we shall see you all in 2 weeks for more of this action.
Also, keep in mind that for competitors wishing to drive in tracc.eu, we do have the V2.4H now, tomorrow at Brands Hatch, and next week we have the Tracc GT3 Cup, as well as the GTM Cup on Sunday after. But until then, we will see you next time. Thank you for watching from me, Ruby Nekomata, and April Carlsbauer. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed all this, and we will see you on the racetrack.